Do you want to save thousands of dollars by selling your home yourself? Do you want to make sure you keep you and your family safe while you're marketing your home for sale? Well, stick with me. I've been selling homes for 19 years, and I'm going to teach you 12 simple and effective steps that professional realtors like me use every day to get homes sold. Now, look, there are significant safety concerns for you when it comes to how you're going to conduct showings and granting access to your home to the general public, to strangers that you don't know. So you're going to want to stick around until numbers 9 and 10 so you can learn important safety steps to keep your family safe while selling your home yourself. All right, now let's get stuck right into it. Step 1 is to prepare your home for sale. Now start simple and easy here. Think elbow grease, not dollars. In fact, the best bang for your buck home preparation is going to be the 3 Ds. I'm not talking diners, drive-ins, and dives here, and you're never going to see me with this haircut. I'm talking about deep clean, declutter, and depersonalize. The thing that most buyers want to see is that a home has been well maintained, loved, and cared for. And what makes them feel that way is when the home is exceptionally clean. That's why the first step to preparing your home for sale is to do a deep clean. Now look, you can do it yourself, or you can hire someone to do it for you and outsource it. But either way, you've got to get the home clean. Now, pro tip here, if you're going to hire someone to do the cleaning for you, do it after you've done the next 2 steps of decluttering and depersonalizing. Pro tip number 2, most house cleaners won't clean the windows, or at least they won't clean the outside of the windows. Make sure to hire someone to do the windows for you. I use a great local company here called Squeaky Clean, but you can Google a company in your area that specifically cleans windows. Also, think about leaving the screens off of the windows for your photo day. It'll let in a ton of additional natural light, and most buyers list lots of natural light as number 1 on their list of things they want in their new home. Now, if you're going to use this trick with the screens, make sure to mark them with masking tape or post-it so you know what windows they go to at the end, or it becomes just a maddening puzzle. Now, the second D is to declutter. Now, I don't think of my home as cluttered, and you probably don't either, but the fact of the matter is we sell homes with a lot less furniture in them than we have in them when we live there. In fact, we sell homes with 50% less furnishings than we have when we live in them. That's because people want to see rooms as big, light, bright, and open, and you accomplish that by getting the furniture out. This means cutting down on the extra chairs, the extra end tables, the decorations, and the tchotchke. Think hotel room. It has everything you need and nothing that you don't. You just want it to have a slightly warmer vibe than a hotel room. Now, if you're having trouble with this, you can outsource it by hiring a professional stager, or you can give me a call and I can teach you how to use your own furniture to maximize your sales price and minimize your time on market. All right. Now, the third and final D is actually usually the hardest one for people, and that's to depersonalize. Now, it's hard for people because it means packing up those family memories a little bit sooner than you were ready for. However, it has some major benefits. The number 1 important thing in getting something sold is to get as many people as possible to look at it. Now, you're going to accomplish this with your marketing plan and your marketing activities, which we're going to talk about in some of the later steps. However, the second most important thing in selling anything is getting someone to spend the most amount of time possible with the item, in this case, your home. And the third thing is to get them to see themselves in that home. Now look, when I bring buyers to a home, at the end of the showing, if they sit down on the couch and they start talking about how they're gonna decorate the place, what it would be like to live there, that's when I know they're gonna write an offer on that home. But if they don't feel comfortable there, they're not gonna sit down on the couch and have that conversation. So if they're staring at all your family photos on the wall, they're gonna wanna get out of there as quickly as possible to let this family, your family, come back home to their house because they feel bad for inconveniencing you. So depersonalizing is a crucial step in your sales process. It also helps you get in the right mindset for sale. It helps you begin the process of no longer thinking of this as your home, because it's not your home anymore. You're getting rid of it. It is now your most valuable asset that you're going to sell. And so you're taking steps to maximize what you can sell that asset for. And that's a very important mindset shift. So how do you depersonalize? Well, the first step, of course, as I said, is get all the family photos and any awards off the walls. Get them all down, okay? You're gonna replace them with neutral coffee shop art, the type of thing you'd see at a Starbucks on the wall that has no real connection to anything but is pleasant to look at. Now, you might have some of this just around the house somewhere that you can move and replace those family items with. If you don't, you can easily purchase that stuff at a TJ Maxx, a Target, or a Walmart. Now, the second step is getting all religious iconography down off the walls. Now this one is really hard for people because this represents their faith and their commitment, and it also gives people a lot of comfort in their home. However, the people purchasing your home may simply not be the same faith as you. So it is now not your home. So what's on the walls doesn't represent you anymore. What's on the walls should represent your best chances for sale. Now, by doing this, packing up the family photos, the awards, and the religious iconography, you get to take your most important items and early on in the moving process, get them safe and secure and ready to go to your new home. And you've made that mindset shift. So it's a win-win. Now, of course, the final step in getting your home prepared for sale is to do any minor repairs that need to be done. You know, the holes in the wall from the doorknob where the kids slammed it, or the dinged up baseboards, or the small leaky faucet, those sorts of things. Pro tip here, you want to stay away from the major renovations. If you just renovate one thing, like a kitchen or a bathroom, you're not going to see even a 100% return on your money on that. You're going to lose money. And if you're doing them right at the time of sale, you won't have even gotten to enjoy them. So skip the major renovations. You don't need to do them, but do the small things that make the home feel well taken care of. Now, if you want some extra help with this and some extra tips at preparing your home for sale, you can go ahead and click the link in the description that will take you to the contact page on my website. We're going to ask you for an email address to make sure you're a real person and not an internet bot. And then we'll send you out a free for sale by owner guide that walks you through room by room what to do to prepare your home for sale and some tips for how to stage it yourself. On to step 2. Pricing it right. Now, this is both the most crucial step and the one people struggle with the most. People struggle with this for 2 reasons. One, it's hard to price your own home. You're so emotionally attached to it. You see so much value in your home that just might not be there for other people. In fact, you might be shocked to know that as realtors, when we go to sell our homes, we call in a colleague or a friend and have them do a CMA, a comparative market analysis, for us and use their price to gut check our price because we're so close to this particular home that we can't see it clearly. The other reason it's challenging for people is because frankly, it's a lot more art than it is science. We're of course going to start with rock solid comparable sales data to create a range to place your house in that's based on the numbers. After that though, we adjust the pricing based on your home's unique features and benefits, based on the market mechanics at the time, based on the market timing, and based on your own personal timing. If you don't need to move for a year, then maybe you can afford to price it a little higher and see what you can get. If you need to move in the next month or 2, then you're going to have to price your home more aggressively. So each of these factors plays a role, but it's all going to be placed within this range bracketed by the comparable sales data. Now, like I said, this can be really challenging. So if you're having trouble with this step, feel free to reach out to me and I can take care of this one for you. Simply hit the contact link down below, and in the body of your email, make sure to say that you're interested in getting a free comparative market analysis for your home. That way I can take the stress of the pricing piece off the table for you. Number 3 is filling out the seller's disclosures. Now I want to stop the presses here because this is a big one, perhaps the most important one that you're going to do. Doing this correctly is what helps close the door on lingering liability for you after the sale closes. Doing this improperly can expose you to lawsuit and financial damages that could completely wipe out all of the profits of selling your home to begin with. So you're going to want to get this right off the bat. Now, first of all, full disclosure is required by law, and omissions are essentially lies that can come back to bite you in the end. So I tell all of my clients, when in doubt, over disclose. Now, what do I mean by that, over disclose? Here's an example. Maybe 10 years ago, there was a big storm and a tree fell on your roof and it damaged the roof. You made a homeowner's insurance claim, you got a licensed contractor out there, you fixed the roof, and everything's fine. You haven't had a problem with it since, and that was a decade ago. And so you might think, why do I need to tell them that? It happened, it was fixed, it's not causing any problems. However, you have to tell them that because it happened. Because it happened, it's a material fact, and it could weigh into the buyer's decision as to whether or not they want to purchase your home. Now look, I know that last sentence is a little scary because no one wants to lose a buyer over some silly thing that happened a long time ago. And most of the time, you won't lose the buyer. They'll recognize that as something that happened, was fixed, and they'll be fine with it. But if you don't tell it to them, it can cause you big problems down the road. So when in doubt, over disclose. Tell them everything. So where do you get the appropriate disclosure paperwork, and what if you need some help filling it out? Well, if you hire a professional realtor, this is one of the crucial services they provide. And if you're going it alone, then you'll simply need to contact a real estate attorney and find out what they'll charge you to get you the appropriate disclosure paperwork and give you some advice on how to fill it out. Now, pro tip here, be very, very careful about trying to do this via the internet, downloading random forms or watching instructional videos. This is a very important step in your home sale process, and it varies wildly from state to state and even from city to city or county to county. Now here in El Dorado County, we have an El Dorado County local buyers and sellers advisory form that goes over a bunch of local issues that are specific to El Dorado County that wouldn't apply somewhere else. Now we share a border with Sacramento County, but Sacramento County has their own local buyers and sellers advisory going over the things that are appropriate for their county. So this is very regionally specific, and you're going to want to get this right and have a professional help you out one way or another. All right, we're about to jump into some of the more fun stuff, the marketing. But before we do, I just wanted to let you know, if you're having any trouble with this, if you have any further questions or need a little bit of help, feel free to reach out to me via the contact information on the screen or down in the description. I've helped hundreds of families over the years in El Dorado County sell their homes, and I'm always happy to help. All right, let's jump into the marketing section. So let's quickly recap. Your home is prepped, you've priced it right, and you've done the seller's disclosures. Now you're ready to start the marketing phase of your home. Now, marketing a home can be complex, and professional realtors like myself use professional videographers, professional photographers, and cast a wide net using social media platforms to market your home for sale. But you don't need to start there. You can start simple with just your phone. That's right, step 4 is to simply get out your phone and start going through your contact list. Because according to the National Association of Realtors 2022 Buyers and Sellers Profile Report, 36% of all homeowners tried to sell their home on their own first, and 10% of them succeeded. That means 10% of all homes that sold without a realtor. Of those 10%, 50% of them sold to a friend, family member, or colleague. That means 50% of the people who managed to sell their home on their own did so to somebody they already knew. This makes your contact list your first and most important tool in trying to get your home sold on your own. So go through your phone, call everybody you know, and give them the features and benefits of your home. Let them know it's for sale and let them know how much you're asking for it, and see if any one of them are interested in buying your home before you move on to any of the extra marketing steps. Now, if you manage that, you can skip over the marketing phase entirely and go straight to processing your escrow and getting the home sold. If you don't manage to find a buyer in that list, then move on to the next step and start marketing your home for sale. Step 5 is to get quality photos and videos shot of your home. Now, this is a big one because buyers want video. In fact, a listing that has just one video will get 400% more online inquiries than a listing that doesn't. It's pretty amazing. And 51% of buyers use YouTube now as their #1 home search tool. But not all videos created equal. Don't waste your money on the lame slideshows with classical music behind them. There's a lot of services that will charge you a few $100s to do that, but those videos get no traction and no engagement whatsoever. Now, if you can tell a better story or effectively communicate the features and benefits of your home on video, then definitely do that. For an example of that, you can click on this video up here, or I'll leave a link in the description down below, of an amazing local home here in Shingle Springs. Now, this home had way too much going on to try to just communicate it via pictures and music. It had 3 massive tree houses with suspension bridges and rope swings and hidden caves in the swimming pool. It was an amazing home. So we shot a video where I'm on camera talking about those features and benefits and weaving a consistent story throughout the video that will help that home sell. Not gonna believe this home. Come on in and check it out. Look at this amazing living space. There's room here to entertain the entire extended family. Now, the challenge with creating grand living spaces like this is always, how do you keep them comfy and cozy and homey? And that's where the owners and builders of this home hit it out of the park. With the warm wood tones throughout, the oak flooring, the wood craftsman pillars, and the sit-on stone hearth, you feel like you can while away the hours into the evening talking with friends. Now, if you can do that, jump on video and do it because it will greatly increase your chances of selling quickly. If you can't do that and all you can do is a slideshow with music, skip it, save your money, and go all in on professional photography. Hey, if you've made it this far and you're getting anything out of this video, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell, check off all notifications so you don't miss the next video packed with great real estate advice for you. Do make sure you're hiring a professional photographer to come out and shoot your listings. Now for my listings, I shoot them at just before, at, and after sunset to get the best lightings. I also shoot a combination of vertical and horizontal photos and vertical and horizontal video. To effectively market a home for sale today, you need to be marketing across all of the social media platforms, and those platforms want you to be marketing that listing natively to each platform. And they each have their own best format, whether that be vertical or horizontal, whether that be long form content or short form content. So you need to shoot all of that. Make sure to go over that with the professional photographer you hire so that they get you what you need to implement in your marketing program later. Now you can expect to spend between $500 and $700 to have a professional photography and videography shoot done on your home. But remember, if the particular photographer or service you choose is only doing that lame slideshow with pictures and a little bit of music behind it as a video, then you can save yourself some money and just book the photos only package. All right, step 6 to effectively sell your home on your own without a realtor is to pay to get that home on the MLS. Now look, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one. It just has to be on there. It's your most effective online marketing tool because most of the local buyer's agents are on the MLS, and that's the tool they use to find homes to present to their buyers. So it simply has to be on there. Now there are realtors who offer services to just put the home up on the MLS for you and do nothing else, and those start at about $95. There are also online for sale by owner services, and those range from $95 to $400 to $600 with some helpful add-ons that you might like. Now you can choose your own adventure there, but you simply have to get the home on the MLS. Step number 7 is determining how you're going to deal with the issue of buyer's agents. Now, look, you're watching this video because you want to sell your home without a listing agent to save the listing side of the commission, and that makes sense. But while we're on the topic of listing your home on the MLS, where the buyer's agents are going to see it and present it as an option to their buyers, it bears mentioning that most buyers are going to be working with a buyer's agent to help them find their home of choice, negotiate the best price, and get them through the inspection and paperwork process. So even if you don't have your own listing agent, you're gonna regularly have to engage with buyer's agents. And so it's worth spending some time determining how you're gonna deal with them and whether or not you're gonna offer them a commission. Now, while offering them a commission is always optional and the amount of that commission is negotiable, these buyer's agents are gonna have an amount that they want to be paid. And if they bring in a buyer, they're likely gonna ask you to pay it. So you'll wanna determine upfront if you're willing to do that and how much you're willing to give so that you're not blindsided by this down the road during the negotiation phase. Okay, I want to be very clear here that whether you hire a professional agent or go it alone, commissions being paid to any realtor ever in the state of California are negotiable. Just because they're negotiable though, that doesn't mean any one individual realtor will be willing to negotiate on their fees. He or she likely has an amount that they've determined that they charge for their services like any other service provider. And it's their prerogative to stick to that number, just like it's your prerogative to move on to somebody else if you don't want to pay it. Commissions are always a negotiation between the client and that realtor. Now, that being said, to give you an idea of what you might end up spending, I'll tell you what I do. This is by no means standard. This is simply how I do it. I have a certain commission amount that I charge my listing clients, and then I offer a portion of that to the buyer's agent via the MLS listing. Now for me, my choice is that I offer 2.5% to the buyer's agent. Now, if your buyer brings in an agent, they're gonna be looking most likely for you to pay them some amount, and it could be similar to what I offer, the 2.5%. So you can use that as a baseline to start to calculate what you might spend selling your house on your own. You can use that 2.5% to start to make some decisions. You have some choices to make around that. Are you gonna offer a buyer's agent any commission at all? If you are gonna offer him a commission, is it gonna be a flat fee or a percentage of the sale? If it's going to be a flat fee, what is it going to be? If it's going to be a percentage of sale, what percentage is it going to be? Those choices are ultimately yours and will become a point of negotiation with the buyer's agent who brings you a buyer down the road. But it's best to think this through up front so that you can negotiate confidently with a buyer's agent when or if the time comes. Now look, you're also going to have to decide how to safely grant access to your home for showings. So be sure to stick around to number 10, where I'll go over some key safety measures that you can take to safely show your home to potential buyers. Step number 8, signs, flyers, and printed marketing materials. Now look, you don't have to get too fancy with the signs. If you've done everything above right, you've got the property on the MLS, you've got professional videos and great photos, then people are gonna find your home on the internet. Gone are the days of people driving around neighborhoods looking for signs in yards. But you do have to have one so that when someone comes out for a showing, they know they're in the right spot. It just doesn't have to be super fancy. I'll leave a link in the description to my favorite local sign company where you can have a sign made and also purchase the sign post to put up in your yard. And for those of you who are out of El Dorado County, I'll leave a link to a web service where you can buy posts and design your signs online and have it shipped to you. And that's pretty much it on signs. Now, when it comes to printed marketing materials, they can range all over the place. Every realtor does things a little bit different. For my clients, I do large format, full color brochures that I use inside the home, but mostly that I use in a mailing campaign. And I use large format postcards, similarly, in a mailing campaign. I also do expensive print ads in local newspapers and magazines. Now, if you don't have a big budget, print advertising may not be for you. But if you still want to put together at least a few takeaways to leave in the home for buyers after a showing to remind them of all the great features of your home, you can do that pretty easily with an online service or app called Canva. You can do it either on your desktop, laptop, or on your phone. It's a great app. It's got tons of templates. It's easy to use and it's free. I'll leave a link in the description to Canva. All right, now, pro tip here, do not waste your time or money on flyers out front of the home on the signpost. I don't do them and you shouldn't either. The reason for that is, again, gone are the days of people just driving around looking for signs and picking up flyers. The people who are doing that are not serious pre-qualified buyers. The serious pre-qualified buyers are conducting targeted online home searches and using a buyer's agent for that service. So the flyer pullers are just wishers and dreamers, and you don't want to spend your precious limited marketing dollars on those folks. So go ahead and skip the flyers altogether and use that money, like I said, on the print ads. Number 9 is open houses. Now, according to the National Association of Realtors, an open house sells homes less than 2% of the time. I'm going to be real honest with you. Open houses are just a realtor trick to get more clients. It's utilized by younger agents newer in the business who don't have a large book of clients to work with. They sit in your home, they collect phone numbers and emails, and they follow up with those people later, knowing all the while that that's not going to sell your home. That's why you'll almost never see a veteran realtor sitting in open house. They know you hired them to sell the home, not to get more clients, and they know that there's far more productive marketing techniques they can be using than sitting in your home for the afternoon. That's why I don't do them, and you shouldn't either. You also shouldn't be inconvenienced and have to go sit in 2 movies in a row on a Sunday because you can't go back to your house while this open house that's not going to sell your home is happening. So skip the open houses. There are also some significant safety concerns associated with conducting an open house. Look, you're inviting the general public into your home, and these are people that often have not been vetted by and are not accompanied by a licensed professional realtor. However, I do have some clients that insist on me doing open houses, and to give them the best service possible, I will agree. So here are my 4 pro tips to conducting a safe and effective open house. Starting with number 1, never do it alone. There's safety in numbers. You don't know the people coming into the house. You don't want to be there all alone. Also, if you have a home that's multiple levels or multiple stories, you simply can't be everywhere at once. So having multiple people allows you to have someone on each level while someone's walking the home. So never do an open house by yourself. Number 2, hide all the valuables: jewelry, cash, passports, documents that can be used to conduct identity theft, and anything that goes pew pew. People have and will steal them. Something most people don't think about is prescription medications. Your prescription medications have street value and are therefore open to being stolen. So hide the medications along with all of those other items during your open house. Number 3, have a sign-in sheet. Ask people to give their name, phone number, and email address. Now this will allow you to follow up with these people later. And although it feels uncomfortable at first, try to engage them in conversation and ask them a few questions. You'll be shocked at the amount of information a well-qualified buyer will share with you. Chief among them, that they're pre-qualified for their loan, that they love the neighborhood, or what they're looking for in a home. Now, these are things that you can use later to effectively market your home to them when you do your follow-up calls. Number 4, and this one's big, in order to have an effective open house, you have to have a lot of people come through. Remember, you're casting a wide net. These are unqualified people who don't know anything about your house, just wandering in. You have to have a lot of them to have the chance of finding one of them that might be qualified to buy your home. In order to do this, you have to have a lot of signs out. Of course, you have to first make sure it's advertised on the MLS. So circle back with the person you hired to put it on the MLS and ask them to add in your open house onto that listing. And then go out and get yourself a lot of open house signs. You can use the sign companies I referred you to earlier in the video. Now, on the occasions that I do open houses, I put out no less than 30 bright yellow open house signs with balloons on them. And I put them in different pathways into the neighborhood. So if there are multiple major streets that allow access to your neighborhood, I line those streets and the accompanying pathways into your home with those 30 plus bright yellow signs to get as many people as possible into your open house. Now look, I always like to over deliver. I offered you 4 pro tips, but here's my 5th pro tip to absolutely make your open house a success, which is offer something free, preferably food. Free sodas and drinks, free cookies and water, a barbecue with hot dogs. Food brings people in like nothing else. So advertise some free food on your signs and in your MLS listing, and it'll greatly increase the number of people that you get out to your open house. But really, take my first advice and just skip the open house. Number 10, determine how you're going to conduct showings and how you're going to provide safety and security for your family while you do. I'm glad you stuck around for this one, and you're going to be too. This is one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video. Everyone out there is simply not a good person. I wish they were, but it's just not the case. So let's go over some ways to keep your family safe. Now, realtors, when you hire a professional realtor, we use a lockbox like this one that can only be opened via an app with your phone. Now, once that's opened, your listing agent gets pinged with a bunch of information. They know someone just went into the house. They've got the time they went in. They've got the contact information and license number of the agent. So that's a lot of valuable information to help keep your family safe. Also, the only people who can access this are other licensed realtors. Now, if you're gonna show your home without a realtor, you need to come up with a similar way to safely show your home. So here are 4 options that you can choose from. Number 1, you can conduct the showings by appointment only and be there yourself to give a guided tour of the home. Now, I wanna be very clear here, I do not recommend doing this. The reason I don't recommend doing this is because by doing this, you've moved the needle from just the risk of theft and property damage to the risk of personal harm as well. So if you're gonna go this route, and a lot of for sale by owners want to go this route because they feel very uncomfortable about letting others go through their home alone, if you're gonna go this route, you need to never be alone. That's the most important thing. And then B, you need to try to vet these people that are coming to your home in some way. Now, if they're working with a buyer's agent, you've got a little help there. When someone's working with a professional buyer's agent, they've been vetted at least somewhat. A good buyer's agent shouldn't be ever showing homes to someone who hasn't been pre-qualified for a loan. So they've given up a lot of qualifying financial information. Now, this is not foolproof, but it does give you the sense that this person is who they say they are and they're gainfully employed, and it limits the likelihood, at least, of them being someone who's out to do harm. Now, for you, you can try to vet this person as well. If they have a buyer's agent, you can ask their agent questions to vet them. You can also ask them, and I recommend always doing this, for their name, phone number, and email address, and then confirm that their phone number and email address work and are valid. I also recommend you Google this person, see what you can find, and look for a social media presence and review that too before ever meeting them. And of course, remember rule number 1, never meet them alone. All right. Number 2 option, you can use your own lockbox, a coded lockbox. It looks a little something like this. Now these, you can get them where there are numbers that you can put in or there's letters that you can put in. They're not time sensitive like our Realtor lockboxes. These ones can be programmed to turn off while you're asleep, so there's no access while you're asleep. These ones are simple. You put in a code, you get the key, and you get no information back from them. So you have to be careful with how you use them. First of all, you want to make sure you're giving out an individual code to each person that's going to come by, and then changing that code immediately after they leave. Now, you still, in my opinion, don't want to be there when they're there, okay? But you also have to consider that you've now given them access to the home, and they could still be there when you arrive back home. So just like option number 1, I recommend not returning to the home alone. Come back with multiple people, confirm that the home is safe, change the lockbox code or remove it altogether for the evenings, and that gives you a somewhat safe and secure way to show the home. Now, of course, there's still the risk of property damage or theft with this option, and there is the risk of someone waiting for you when you return home. I don't want to be too alarmist about that. I say that only so that you remember to vet this person the same way you vetted the person in option 1. Even though you're not planning to meet them in person, you still want to vet as thoroughly as possible the people that you're going to let into your home. Now, this is a pretty budget-friendly option. You can buy those kind of lock boxes for around $40-45 at your local Home Depot or hardware store, wherever you live. Option number 3 is you can install a coded front door lock. Something like one of these, where someone has to punch in the code to get in the door. You might have used one of these at an Airbnb that you rented sometime. The benefit of this is that you can put an individual code in for each person, and you can change that code after they leave, just like the coded small lockbox. But you can also, with some of these, there are some apps that give you some feedback in terms of what time they were opened and which code was used. And some of them you can even change the code remotely via an app if you're willing to pay for a really expensive one. Those are a little bit more expensive than the little lockboxes we were talking about in the last step. These ones are gonna cost you on the low end $100 and on the high end up to $500, depending on how fancy you want to get. But this is another option for you to have a somewhat secure way for people to access your home. Now, the same rules apply. Don't go back home alone the first time. Change the code as quickly as you can after the people are gone, and vet the people as thoroughly as possible before they arrive. All right, now the final one, option 4, is you can require that anybody who comes to your home is accompanied by a licensed buyer's agent. Now, again, you're watching this video to save money on commissions, and by doing this, you'll save the commission on the listing side. It's likely that you will end up paying a buyer's commission of some sort anyway in this process. So if you wanted to, you could say only people who have a buyer's agent can come and view the home. The benefit of that is there's somebody with a valuable professional license that they base their livelihood on, who's there and responsible to prevent theft or harm. They're not going to want to lose their license and lose their entire livelihood. So you have a lot more security by having buyers accompanied by a licensed buyer's agent. Of course, the downside to going this route is that you are pretty much committing to having to pay some sort of buyer's agent commission. So if you go back to the previous step where I told you to think through how you want to deal with buyer's agents, if you thought that through and decided I'm not paying anything to a buyer's agent, then this option wouldn't be the best one for you. In my opinion, however, this is the most secure option you have outside of having a listing agent with one of these. Okay, so now you have a plan for how to show your home safely, and you get that exciting first call for a showing. What do? How do you prepare your home for showings? Here are my 5 pro tips for getting your house ready for the most effective showings possible. Number 1 is tidy up. Now, I know, that sounds kind of ridiculous. Of course, I'm gonna clean up and not leave my house a mess. But you would be shocked at the crazy things I've seen over 19 years of showing houses up here. So just make sure you tidy up. And if you have kids, make sure you check all the rooms, because they might have been making messes behind you that you didn't see. On the kids front, if you have kids, my suggestion is to get some of those big Tupperware tubs, the kinds that you store the Christmas decorations in. Stack a few of them right inside the garage. When you get a call for a showing, you can run around the house and scrape all the kids' toys and stuff right into the buckets, stack them in the garage, and off you go for your showing. It's a quick, easy way to keep the house clean when you have kids without having to put in a ton of effort. Number 2 is simple, turn on all the lights. Houses show better with the most light possible. Make sure all the window coverings are pulled back and shades are up as well. Natural light is better than artificial light, but you want both for your showings. Number 3, have a little background music on. Again, this sounds silly, but every store you've ever been in plays background music because it makes people feel comfortable and it makes them stay longer. Now, you want to, of course, avoid the death metal here and just go with something like jazz or an easy listening station that you can keep on the TV or on your Alexa and have that playing while people come in. Make sure it's at a very, very low level though, so it's not distracting. Number 4, and this one sounds a little silly, bake some cookies. All right, so I know that sounds ridiculous, but the smell of fresh baked cookies is something almost every person on the planet associates with home. And we want them to feel like this place is home, so they want to buy it as their home. Now my tip here, of course, is to just get those little pre-made tubes of dough so you can just slap them on the pan real quick, cook some cookies, pull them out, and head out the door. You don't even have to leave the cookies out and give them to the people for the showing. You can save them for you and your kids for later. You just want the smell out there. As an added bonus, this also helps to kind of hide pet odors, especially in the winter. Here in El Dorado County, most people have dogs, and in the wintertime you got wet dogs running around. That can leave a smell in the house, and the fresh baked cookie smell kind of wipes that out for you. Now, number 5 is really important, and it's to prepare for a showing the way you would prepare for an open house. So we've already covered this, but just as a quick reminder, hide all of the prescription medications, all of the cash, all of the jewelry, the documents with identity theft type information on them, and anything that goes pew pew, hide them. Lock them up in a safe. You can also use attic hatches or crawl space hatches for this, or better yet, throw them in the car and take them with you while you leave for the showing. You also have to make sure to deal with your pets if you have them. Like I said, almost everybody in the foothills has a dog. So if you have a dog or a cat or any animal, the best thing to do is take them with you when you leave. If you can't take them with you, you have to secure them in some way, and you want to make sure you communicate to the buyer how the animal is secured. So when you arrange the showing with the buyer or the buyer's agent, you want to tell them, yes, I've got a small dog, he'll be in a crate in the guest bedroom, just don't let him out, okay? Or I've got an indoor only cat, they'll be loose in the house, just be careful as you come in and leave the doors that you don't let them out. You want to make sure you have a plan for dealing with the pets. Number 11, evaluating and negotiating an offer. Hooray, you just got an offer and you are in that elite group of 10% of people who sell their homes on their own without a realtor. Now you have to evaluate and negotiate that offer. And it's important to pay attention to the details. Of course, the top line number isn't the number you walk away with. There are tons and tons of other fees built into the contract, and depending on how someone fills it out, some of those fees are assigned to you and some are assigned to the buyer. You need to figure out which ones are assigned to you and deduct those from the top line number. Fees like county transfer taxes, city transfer taxes, HOA prep fees, HOA transfer fees, the buyer's agent commission fees, all of these things, you need to look at the way the offer is structured and deduct all of those from the top line number to get down to your actual walk away, what you will make on the sale number, so you can evaluate that offer based on its merits. Now, my recommendation to you is to use a title company to help you do this. You're gonna need a title company anyway to help you close the transaction. So number 12 is, of course, to hire a title company. Now, this isn't for the last step for the purposes of getting a net sheet, although getting one early so you can do that is a valuable thing to do. But once you're in contract, assuming we've now got an offer, we've negotiated the offer successfully, and we've got the signatures in the right place, and we are in contract, you are now what we call in escrow. In the state of California, you're gonna use a title company to help you settle, which is just realtor jargon for close, that transaction. If you need help choosing or finding a title company, you can just Google some local ones or give me a call and I can share with you the ones that we use that we love, and they'll take great care of you. It's important to note here that real estate settlement varies wildly from state to state. Now, in some cases, you need a title company, in some cases, you need an attorney, and in some states, you need both a title company and an attorney to close a real estate transaction. Now, here in California, we typically only use a title company, and if you're working with a licensed realtor to help you out, there's usually no need to have a real estate attorney involved in the process. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, if you're going it alone and you're not using a listing agent, I believe you should really have an attorney involved in the process. All right, that wraps it up. Those are my 12 tips for selling your home successfully on your own without a realtor in 2024. Now look, the obvious question when watching a video like this is, Rich, why are you giving this information away for free? Don't you make your money helping people sell their homes? And of course the answer is yes. I'm a full-time residential realtor in El Dorado County and have been for the last 19 years. But look, based on the number, 36% of you are going to give this a shot on your own, and 10% of you are going to be successful. To the 10%, I say, awesome, congratulations. I hope the information I've shared with you has most importantly made your family safer and more prosperous on your journey to getting your home sold. To the other 26% of you, if you eventually have to hire a realtor, I hope you'll remember the sound advice I've given you and consider interviewing me for the job of getting your home sold. Either way, if you have any issues or have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me via the contact information on the screen down here. If you want to see how to do video marketing for your home the right way, watch this video up here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.